Good evening, everyone. This is Ryan Niessen reporting in here tonight, this lovely Tuesday evening. We're at 6:59. I'm just about 7 o'clock here, and I promised I would start on time at 7, so here we are. It is now 7 o'clock, so let's get rocking. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in and taking up some of your valuable time. I know time is money, and especially in the middle of a work week, I appreciate you guys making the choice to invest some of it with me here tonight. So again, my name is Ryan Niessen, and I'm presenting this on behalf of the Gateway Method. So tonight we're going to talk about 3 unusually effective ways to find and get a job you love. And so this is a few really exciting strategies I'm excited to talk about tonight for you guys here. So let's dive in and get started right away. So the problem, what is the problem? Where are a lot of people right now? And so the reason that I'm putting on this little webinar tonight is because, many people in their current jobs are, they're bored, they're unhappy, they're disengaged, underappreciated, underpaid. There's a list of problems, and I'm not going to dive too deep into it. But I essentially got into all of this, going back of, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my background and how I got involved with the Gateway Method and all of this, and why I'm putting this on tonight here. But growing up, I some of my early jobs were, I worked at the golf course and like the pro shop and back shop for a little while. So that was my first job. And growing up, I had some great jobs and I had some not so great jobs. And, I got to see a lot of, as we all do, of our parents, and we learn a lot from their experiences. And so watching, my parents drive to work and, being really, suffering from these problems of being bored and unhappy and disengaged and stuff, it really inspired that motivation within me to make that choice to want to do something positive about it. And so that's how I got to where I am of putting on presentations like this and sharing information about how to find and get a job that you love. So as a result of this, this inspiration of wanting to help people out with finding and getting jobs that are really meaningful to them. I wound up going to an event in Hawaii about a year or two after I graduated college. And in Hawaii, I came across this awesome solution for this problem that I saw so many people having. And on stage there at this event, it was called Awesomeness Fest, which, as the name probably describes, it was a pretty awesome event. And so on stage, they had all kinds of speakers talking about all kinds of things, issues. And on stage there was one guy who particularly inspired me. His name was Andrew Hewitt. And he was talking about an organization called the Game Changers 500. And he had this really inspiring vision that just gripped me, and it was like, yes, this is the solution. This is the new wave of companies. If you've seen the movie Office Space, then you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's the opposite of Office Space. So organizations who are doing something really meaningful in the world, and it's not all about money and working in cubicles, and they exist to make a profit as well as have a positive impact on the planet at the same time. And so here's the website for the Game Changers 500. So by the way, I'm going to keep this a relatively short call here tonight. We'll keep it under an hour or so. And so Game Changers 500. So new era in business. So the Game Changers 500 is all about the world's top 4 benefit companies. And as you can see here, they've got a really beautiful website. And so they've got, let's see, looking over the companies, they have a bunch of really well-known companies here. They've got Guayaki, if you've tried yerba mate, they're excellent. They've got Etsy on here, Google's on here, Zappos.com. So these are 500 of the world's top 4 benefit or purpose-driven companies. And what that means really at the most simple level is that they exist to not only make a profit, but also benefit the world. And so when we talk about how to find and get a job that you love, this is a great place to start. And as you can see, they've got 9 different badges here. They range from talking about depth of impact, scale of impact. So this is, do they have a mission and are they meeting it? They have, they're renowned for creating exceptional work environments and empowering their employees. they also care about making sure everyone wins. So that goes from everywhere from their suppliers to customers to their employees to staff, the environment. It's all about making a situation where everyone wins. They have earth-friendly offices, and so each company on this list will have different badges. Not many of them have them all, but these are the types of things that for-benefit companies are doing. And so this is a pretty new movement. And so this is what Andrew was talking about on stage, which inspired me so much when I was out in Hawaii, and how I got involved in this for-benefit movement and helping people find a job that they love. And so that's what Andrew's up to. And so he created this Game Changers 500 list. And so after that, Andrew and I joined forces. So we wanted to help people like you find and get dream jobs that you love. And so we created the Gateway Method together. And so how that came about is Andrew basically had this course standing around, and he said, hey, Ryan, like, I know you're really passionate about this, and why don't you just take it and turn it into something? And so we worked together, and we put something together, and that became the Gateway Method. So Gateway Method in itself is a set of really modern and effective job seeking strategies to help people get any kind of job. Really, it applies to any type of job market, but particularly for people who are motivated and inspired to find a job that they are really passionate about, that they love, and that they really want to make a difference in the world. It's been proven that people who feel more fulfilled are happy at work. People who feel like their work makes a difference in the world are happier at work. And so it all really ties together nicely. We've got the Game Changers 500 list, and by the way, they're not the only list of companies like this out there. There are also, I actually have a list of about 14 of them that I'll tell you how to get later, 14 different job sites with tons and tons of opportunities. But another website that's similar is you can go to bcorporation.net. And so these are B Corps, and their mission is to use business as a force for good. So this was actually a Virgin project, I believe. So Richard Branson was part of this, and they have tons of organizations all over the world as well, too, 38 different countries, as you can see. And a lot of people, when I talk to them about the Game Changers 500, it's like, well, there's 500 companies, they probably aren't in my area, and maybe they aren't hiring in my industry or something. But I always encourage people just to check it out and see. You never know, they might be, they might not be. But many companies these days are hiring people to work remotely, so you can get a job with a company anywhere in the world. And I know my job after I graduated college is that's how it was. I was able to work, and am still able to work from anywhere in the world. Just all I need is my laptop. So there's lots of opportunities out there like that too. And you can search by companies by location here as well too. So regardless of where you're from in the world, there is probably something for you. And another common objection people worry about is, am I too old? Am I too young to get involved with this? And that's another thing where, it's, what was it, Henry Ford that said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So, there are tons of opportunities, and what it really takes to get in with these types of companies is just being passionate about it, about what they're doing, and wanting to make a difference and wanting to grow. And of course, standing up for yourself and saying, hey, I want to work in an exceptional work environment. I want to be empowered in the workplace versus just accepting any normal office-based job, And we're going to get into some cool strategies on how to find these companies and get their attention in a minute here. Let me just take a quick drink of water here and take a break. But all right, so again, thank you guys for jumping on the call here tonight. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about these for-benefit companies and how to find and get a job you love. So let's move on to the next slide. So that's a little bit about where I came from and how I got involved with this. First strategy, we're about 10 minutes into the call. So the first strategy here is to find a company that you love. And in order to do that, you're going to want to get rid of the shotgun approach to job seeking. So the shotgun approach is what I like to call what most people do when they're looking for a job. So if you can imagine a shotgun, it sprays in every direction, versus a sniper who takes very careful aim and fires one shot and they're good to go. So a shotgun approach to job seeking means that you create a ton of resumes and cover letters without very much care for any of them, not much personalization, they're all the same really, and just send them out to whoever you can find. So if you're in the marketing industry, you might send it out to every single job that you can find on Craigslist, on Monster, you know, any website that you can find, you're sending something out. And so this is the shotgun approach to job seeking. And what happens with this approach is that you haven't put much effort into deciding on what you want first. So your results are going to reflect that. So what I mean by that is that you're going to the more specific that you can get when you about something that you want, the better your results are going to be, because you're going to get it quicker. So you're going to wind up, you know, if you put zero intention or thought into deciding what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your career, and you just fire out all these resumes to different people, not only are they going to be bored by your resume because it's not going to resonate because you didn't put any effort into it, and you're not going to get the job, or, you know, if you do get the job with one of them, then it's not going to be what you want because you don't know what you want. You just put a bunch of stuff out there and saw what happens. And so my suggestion is to get rid of the shotgun approach and instead get clear on what you want. So it takes a little bit more time, but if you spend some time digging into your strengths and your passions and your values and what inspires you, then you can come up with a few different options of companies that you love. So start with the Game Changers 500 after figuring out what it is that you want to do, and just kind of scan some companies and look for 3 to 5 companies that you just really love and that you would do anything to work for. You know, maybe they're in an industry that you love, or, you know, maybe they're solving a problem that has always bugged you, or you know, any number of things really. But you know, it's finding something that you really care about is the first step to finding and getting a job that you love, is deciding what that is that you want to do. And only you can do that really. So if you're, you know, like I said, one more time, is that if you're just going to send out a bunch of different resumes in all kinds of different directions, then you're not going to get the results that you want. So that's the first strategy here. And the second strategy is to create an ultimate resume. And I've got a great resource for you guys on this as well, but there's a stat for you here that only 1% of traditional resumes actually lead to a job offer. And so the reason for that is that everybody's doing the same thing. You know, there's absolutely no differentiation between you and the rest of the guys out there sending in the exact same resumes. And so, you know, on the employer's end, they're tired of seeing that as well. So it's the exact same thing as everyone else, and you know, there's no way to stand out there. So a couple things that you can do about that in order to create an ultimate resume is to create headings that sell rather than describe. And so what I mean by that is, on your resume, like everyone's resume, you'll typically have headings above each of the sections, and they'll typically be very boring headings. You know, it'll be summary, or, you know, skills, or whatever like that. And so rather than using those typical boring headlines, what you can do is create headlines that sell yourself, so they can you know, they can sell you and the value that you provide and the benefit that you provide to the employer, rather than just doing something generic. So for instance, you know, if you're applying for a pizza delivery job, you know, rather than the skill of being able to drive, you could say, well, you know, the skill is that I, you know, consciously use GPS to map out the most efficient route possible. You know, that's probably not the best example, but you get what I'm saying about creating headings that sell. You want to focus on the benefit rather than just plainly describing something. Another thing that you can do is include testimonials in your resume. So LinkedIn has a great feature for this. You can get recommendations from people, and you can request them, you can give them. And so one great way to get them, if you don't already have recommendations, is to reach out to some people in your network that you look up to. Maybe it's, maybe it's a teacher or an employer, an old boss, or it could be a peer. But everybody's looking for great recommendations, and so you can say, hey, you can reach out to them with a message and say, hey, I'd love to maybe swap recommendations with you, and I'd love to write you one. Is there anything you'd like me to highlight? And then you can offer to write them one first, and then more than likely they're gonna write one back for you, and you can put that testimonial, which, by the way, you should ask them to feature something that you want featured in your resume, that your employer that you picked in the first strategy, that they care about. So that's another great strategy, is to throw some testimonials on there. And finally, you can use these 7 online tools that I've put together. So if you go to thegatewaymethod.com/ultimate-resume, ultimate-resume, sorry, then you can get 7 online tools that trump your traditional resume. I believe that's the title, and those will help you out with standing out online. All right, let's move on to the last strategy here, which is to use modern strategies and wow them. So a few examples of this, of wowing people, is using a FedEx envelope. So if there's a company that you want to get their attention, so one of back to the first strategy, you've identified 3 to 5 companies that you really would love to work for, that you would do anything to work for. And so the question becomes, how do you get their attention? And the way to do that is, one great way to do that is to FedEx them and get the the nice big FedEx package. Find the contact, because they're going to open your FedEx envelope. It's not just going to be another resume on the top of their desk. And so throw in a highly customized cover letter and resume into the envelope, along with ideally something bulky. So this could be it could be a little statue, like maybe your link, you can link to something in your cover letter where you tell a story about how you love traveling or something, and it's maybe it's a travel company that you're applying to, and you love traveling, and you throw in a statue that has to do with maybe it's a South American South American travel company, and you throw in a statue that you got when you're traveling in South America or something like that, just to grab their attention and wow them right off the bat. Another great thing that you can do is this YouTube cover letter video. So I know these are becoming more popular, and you may have heard this already, but just one example of how someone used that to get their job is Kajabi here, which is a pretty modern kind of tech company. And they've got this whole blog post talking about how someone applied to their company with a video resume, and they essentially hired them right off the bat. So this guy, it's like a minute-long video I can show you here. And he applied to get the job and got it, no problem.
Kajabi, you may or may not have heard this, but I'm the perfect candidate for a job in customer service. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jordy. I have a background in online and over-the-phone support. I love people. I am highly communicative. In high school, I was voted as the most creative. I'm self-made. I paved the way to exceed my own expectations. I crave excellence in vocation and interpersonal relations. In every single thing I do, I aim to give my all. Now, excuse me. Sorry, I've got to take this call. How may I use assistance?
So that's a pretty funny example of what people do. But he's not the only one. That many people have done this, and obviously it depends on the type of company that you're applying for too. Kajabi, they've got the type of culture where this is totally appropriate, and obviously they were impressed because they hired him right away. So depends on the type of company that you're applying for, but that's where it comes in with the first strategy of finding 3 to 5 companies that you would do anything to work for, because when you do that, then you're totally willing to create a 2-minute YouTube video and have some fun with it and show off your personality and your skills and your uniqueness in order to get their attention. And companies love that. They love people who are willing to stand out and be themselves and showcase that, hey, I'm here and I've got something of value, and I'm going to do great work for you, so give me a shot here. And that stands out just far and beyond anything else, you know, a normal job application will do. So so that's the next one, is the YouTube cover letters. And the last example of using some modern strategies to wow people is a hot air balloon. So there's a story of some guy was trying to submit a proposal to Richard Branson, and it may have been to get a job, or it may have been like some sort of business proposal. I can't remember what it was, but in order to get his attention, you know, he researched Richard Branson right off the bat. So he figured out what he liked, and turns out Richard Branson loves hot air balloons. I think he's actually ballooned around the world or something. He's one of the few people to like cross an ocean in a hot air balloon or something like that. So this guy researched him, found out that, and decided to hire a hot air balloon to go and carry this proposal over to him. And so you can bet that Richard Branson, you know, checked that out and gave some more serious consideration to that, because, you know, when you're applying for your dream job and you've got a lot at stake, you're you know, they can tell when you're fully invested in it, and that's what impresses them. So there's your 3 strategies, your 3 yeah, just incredibly effective strategies to find and get your dream job. And we're going to keep this one really short because you know, it's late here, and you know, it's really not much point in just carrying on too long here. So that was the 3rd strategy, and I'm just going to cut it off right there, I think. And so have a great night, and thank you guys again for tuning in, and I appreciate your time again, and thank you, and have a good night.